What up, players? It's Warboss Tay up in this mode. Welcome to part 2 of our 2-part Savage Orc tutorial. And this is what you can expect to get done by the end of today. A lot of highlighting, building up the work we did yesterday with the shades, the tattoos. We highlight up the bone, all the different bone areas, tattoos on the leg, on the face, on the arm, how I go about planning them out. So if you're ever in confusion or just trying to figure out how to do the tattoos, I take you through all of that stuff. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the rest of this tutorial, and we will see you in the next video. Okay, we've got our Savage Orc ready for highlighting. So we're gonna start with the bone and what do you know? Ushabti bone. Time is running down. I am so excited. Project Night Lords is almost upon us, and I can't wait. So if you want to join in on Project Night Lords, it's really just army painting project time, and it's you don't even have to buy a new army. If I was kind of unclear about that, I'm sorry. The goal of Army Project Time, month, whatever you want to call it, is just to make a very solid commitment to painting and updating as often as you can, as much as you can, and then posting either comments on your work, maybe like linking to your Facebook if you post your pictures there, or Photo Bucket, or wherever. But the best would be video responses. Video responses would be so cool. And the more people that make video responses, if you're interested in that sort of thing, the more people who watch my videos, all of you out there, will be exposed to your channel. So painting challenge commitment is like the month of June. It's just going to be for anybody who wants to join in, make a solid commitment. Maybe say like, hey, I've got these figures lying around that I haven't painted yet, and they're just kind of sitting on my shelf. I don't know when I'll ever get to them, so I'm gonna make a commitment that I'm gonna churn them out by this date. And it could be something as simple as I'm gonna paint one model a week if you can't commit to like every day. That's totally fine. Couple minutes here and there, maybe an hour when you can afford it. We've all got lives, and unless you're Sean from Blue Table Painting, in which case, hi Sean from Blue Table Painting. Oh my God, I love your channel. If you're not them, then you've got things to do besides paint miniatures and play war games all day. And I am right in there with you. You know what I mean? So basically what I'm saying is, don't worry if you can't make daily updates. Don't worry if you cannot afford to get a new army. This is really just to motivate you guys and myself in the process, to pick up the brush, pick up the green stuff, build, convert, and paint up something you're going to be proud of by the end of the month. And it's all for fun. I remember during Project Dwarves, at one point, I was like, I am so frustrated with this project. I'm never going to get done. I feel like my painting is suffering. I'm starting to lose my inspiration. And then, it's when we break through that. When we break through that plateau, just like in anything artistic or anything in life, once we break through that plateau and find out, what we're made of, that's when the going gets tough and the tough get going. Musculature bone, very reminiscent of the old bleached bone color, which I'm very happy for. Okay, on the bone here, I'm using a technique that I call feathering. If you're a new painter or you haven't seen this effect before, it's when you don't have that much paint on your brush. I've used most of the paint on my brush elsewhere on the other bone pieces, and now I'm just really lightly dusting the paint on and then moving it around with my brush while it's still just recently put on. And what feathering is for is to hide each paint stroke and to spread the paint out so that you're not just painting on one solid line. Like if you're doing like a hard edge highlight, then chances are you wouldn't feather it, because the feathering is really there to hide the individual brush strokes. It's one of my more well-used techniques. I use it all the time because to me, good painting is when you don't see the transition that much. When there's lots of colors on the figure, but you don't see where all the transitions are. I'd love if you painters out there who have been doing this for a long time, Rose, or if maybe like some of my recent commenters and people, subscribers, Chaos Brood Lord, all of you regulars who comment on my stuff, want to share your own techniques. Man of War Gaming. There's so many of you out there. I mean, I respond to so many comments, and I'm always happy to read from you guys. But if you have your own techniques that you really love, that you use almost religiously, I would love to know them. I'd love to, share them with the great community, because there's so many videos out there or contests and whatever that are like asking you like, what's your favorite model? What's your least favorite model? What's your favorite army? But not many people share things like this painting technique I love to use. Layering, dry brushing. For me it's feathering, stuff like that. So share and we'll all be the richer for it. We'll all be the richer for it. Alright. Last thing we're gonna do is a little bit of pallid witch flesh. And when I want to feather, then what I'll do is I'll take the amount of paint on my brush and I'll wipe it off on my wet palette. Especially when you get to the progressive highlights, I try to get most of the paint off my brush, because when you get near the top, you don't want those extreme highlights to be overpowering. Now I'm just trying to follow the line to create a natural lightness. The more pallid witch flesh you add to your bones, the older they'll look. So I'm going to go for a bone that looks like, or I'm going to go for a look on the bone that makes it seem like it's been drying out in the sun for a while. Follow the lines. It's another thing. Follow the lines. Don't second guess the sculptor. Should have a thing called Warboss Painting Camp. Learn all the Warboss secrets. Yeah, I love how the pallid witch flesh really brings out that bone color when you use it right on the edges. Makes the contrast of the bone and the darker areas seem really good. And that is my new bone recipe! Awesome! Okay, now let's get back to painting the skin with some Warboss green. Yep, and because we're feathering, I'm going to wipe most of it off on my wet palette, and then I'm going to look for the lines and try to follow them as closely as I can. Keep it steady, okay, Igor? Right, master. You old man! How is it painting, my boy? Oh, hello, Wurtzag. Lord of mercy! What are you doing, man? You got to get right up in there in this bumper clout. Please don't ever say that again. I'm just saying. The orc butt is not a thing to be feared, man. You gotta love the orc butt. You gotta give it some much needed care and attention. No. Oh, you'll be bringing all the fates down upon your head. You don't paint the orc butt the way it should be painted, man. Lord of mercy. Why? So, Wurtzag. Here, man! Just, making some conversation. You can probably guess the answer to this question, but why don't you tell the viewers at home what your favorite music is? I bet $1 million that it's J-pop. What? I love me the J-pop, man. It's not reggae. No way, man. The reggae music is pretty good, but I love me my Utada Hikaru, man. Oh. You are always going to be the one in my life. The Japanese words, and then she sings some more. I will promise that I'll be the one for you, man. Master, I think you owe Wurtzeg $1 million. No, I don't. I didn't make that bet. You won't be taking back the bet now, man. This is not cool. But it's not fair, Wurtzeg. It's not fair because your bad Jamaican accent obviously was meant to throw me off and make me think that you like to listen to reggae music. Well, no, if that ain't the most sexist thing I ever heard in my life, man. I don't think that means what you think it does. You're the most sexiest man in the whole world, man. I don't think that's what you meant to say either, but thank you. I think I'm pretty sexy. You ain't as sexy as me, you overgrown ghoul. Ah, Lewis. Where did you come from? Where else? I just got home from the gym. Why were you at the gym? 'Cause it's a weeknight, player. Chicks don't go to the clubs on weeknights. At least, not the kind of chicks that I'm into. They be at the gym working on their fitness. Did you just quote Fergie Ferg? You bet your britches I did. My what? Britches! Oh. Don't worry, I know it's a family channel. When you get to the scar, you want to be careful that you don't paint into it. And if you're using a head that doesn't have a scar, what I like to do is highlight close to the front of the lips and leave the shade near the nose and the cheeks. Then I like to shade down or highlight down here by the jawbone at the bottom of the jaw. And finally up where the brow meets the rest of the head, the skull. So you got, we're just building on these layers, and we're gonna do even more in the next step. Alright, man, I'm gonna go now and listen to my Utada Hikaru CDs, man. I love Utada Hikaru. Not you too, Lewis. It's my jam. And I just fixing up the leather now with some Morn Fang brown. I made a couple mistakes. It's always good not to go and fix colors that you've already painted until you're done highlighting the other colors, because it really is going to slow you down if you do that too much. So I'm going to just leave it and move on to the next highlight color for the green, which is the new Goblin Green, also known as Scarsnake Green. Time you get here, you're going to really want to focus on the lines. Look for the lines on the figure where the muscles are most prominent. Not like the whole bulk, but like kind of where the different angles meet, if that makes any sense. Like here, the shoulder muscle. Here's one line on the front, and here's one line on the back, and you make kind of like a V, and you feather in towards the center. So you get something like that. Just follow all the lines, and when in doubt, just highlight over what you've already highlighted previously with the Warbaste Green. Feathering this third color on always makes me so stoked and happy, because it's really where your hard work with all the shading and the gradual highlights, it's where it really pays off. And this new color scheme, or color range, if anything, has made the paints much easier to paint with. They don't clump up as much. If you remember the old Goblin Green, oh, it would be so hard to paint with. You really had to thin it down, and even then, by the time you thinned it down to where you could easily paint with it, it got really watery because the pigment would separate. So it would be really hard to get any good coverage with it. This new paint range, I've found, on the whole, instead of thinning it down every single time, sometimes it's just good enough to have a napkin or a wet palette nearby that you just wipe the excess off. Okay, while that was uploading, I was able to finish the rest just to save time. So let me show you a little bit of what I did. I focused on the knuckles because those are the parts that are going to be the most stretched out of the hand. So I didn't paint all the fingers, and let's see what else I did. Oh yeah, I could take you through the lines of these Savage Orcs. The musculature, like, some people really just don't like it, but it's great for learning basic highlighting. So here on the forearm, we stick to where most of the mass is, the meat. The elbow, we stick to the elbow, rather than, you know, the whole line of the arm. Down here, the tricep, we can paint here closer to the elbow where the light would be, or we could draw the line out towards the shoulder or the wing muscle. Basically all the lines, just follow all the lines wherever the the light reflects, and then build the highlight up. You never want to just glob paint down. That's the worst thing you can do. If anything, get all that paint almost completely off the brush. Make sure the brush is just slightly, I don't want to say damp, because you don't want it to splatter all over the place, but you do want the paint to just go on really easily. And this new paint goes on easily if you have the right amount on your brush. So again, with the face, we highlight everything that is close to the front or stretched out. So like the lips, the upper lips. Put a lot of that Scarsnet green there. Down here at the bottom of the jaw, because he's stretching his jaw to scream, we're really going to be focusing on the line of the jawline, as it were, near the tip of the ear, down the line, a little bit on the earlobe for the other side. So as you can see, I'm leaving this big chunk of the face still, there you can see a little bit better. I'm leaving this chunk of the face still shaded, and I'm not really going to touch it because we want that you know, that difference. And hey, if you ever feel like the highlights are wrong, you can always go back with some shade, with your BL10 shade, and just redo it. But yeah, you'll never learn unless you try, and you'll never get better unless you keep trying. And that's how I figured out was the best way to highlight. For me, everybody's different, and you might like more obvious lines. I've seen people who've painted on straight lines that kind of look like I want to say like a watermelon. You know how the watermelon has like stripes of the bigger like lighter stripes. Anyways, what am I talking about? What am I doing? What are we doing? We're gonna try this new Citadel Dry because the White Dwarf says that it's gonna be good. But I just noticed that the lid is all jacked up. What is up with that? I just brought this thing home. Does that mean that my dry paint dried out? It's fine cast. I don't know. Alright. How come it doesn't have the fancy schmancy break the seal? What? Oh my god, I was ripped off. Yeah, it still feels like the other dry paint. Whatever, G-dubs. Whatever. So if you're not used to using dry paint... Oh yeah, what paint are we using? Longbeard Gray. If you're not used to using these dry paints, you really gotta get the majority of it off onto your dry palette or your napkin. So that when you paint it like on your skin, you hardly see any of it, because otherwise you are gonna streak all over the place. It's not gonna be fun. We're going to use this on the stone because, remember, we're not doing the blue crystal because this is going to be for everybody who would like stone effects on their Savage Orcs. It's a little bit different than the Savage Orc Wartsag Shaman that I did. But as you can see, it picks up the details really nicely when you use a dry brushing brush, like I have. You don't need a dry brushing brush. You could just use an old brush where the bristles have gotten a little bit stiff from, you know, lots of use, and that's totally fine. There you go. And there you go. That is all you really need, especially when you're painting a horde of these guys. There's another step in the White Dwarf, the new White Dwarf, but you know you don't need it. Alright, keeping things as easy as possible, trucking right along. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to repaint the pelt thing he's wearing around his belt. The inside of the pelt. Around his belt. It's going to be sorry about this, folks. I can't seem to find my, oh, here it is. Baneblade Brown or Rakarth Flesh. Either will work. You're just highlighting the inside part of the pelt, as it were. If you were over generous with your green BL10 wash, like I unfortunately was, then this is the time to fix that. Yabba dabba doo man! Right, now we're gonna paint the pelt itself. What do you know? Ushapti bone! What? Ushapti bone? Warbaste? What madness is this? We're going for a cream-colored leopard pelt. So this is part you can dry brush on, or you can paint individually. I'm just gonna paint it on. I'm not gonna worry about the shade. Wet palette, I forgot to use the wet palette. Do as I say, folks, not as I do. I have all these ideas, and I keep forgetting to do them myself. Alright, so there we go, and we're going to use Pallid Witch Flesh for the talons, if you're using this one. There's another style that you might have. If you have these scales, you could do them in blue or in gray. And with those you just use the blue, like Sotek blue, Temple Guard blue, and then wash with Drakenhof Nightshade, and then highlight back up. If you're doing the brown, the gray, then you could just do gosh, what is it? I don't remember the gray base off the top of my head. So you could use Celestra Gray and then color it down with Dawnstone, which is a darker gray, and then just wash that with some Nuln Oil. Oh, so much different sculpts. There's no way to do like one definitive Savage Orc tutorial. You need like bunches of different models. Alright, so that should be enough to let that paint dry. So I'm gonna use our sepia now to lightly shade the pelt. Sepia. Sepia. Where are you, Sepia? Oh, for crying out loud. You can use a new one. If I can't find it, I might just have to use Griffin Sepia. Rose, I'm gonna get that organizer thing you told me about. There's all this digging through my paints is crazy. Seraphim Sepia. This is gonna enhance the yellow even more, the yellow creaminess, by not being as brown, as dark as the Agrax Earthshade was. Okay, we're gonna let that dry. While that's drying, we're gonna start with the face paint. 12, 24, 36, 48. Okay, we can do it. So, first color we're gonna take out of here, Swordsman, is Ceramite White. my theory for doing tattoos, let me just get all the basic colors out. Seraphim White, Mephiston Red for the red, and for the blue, Calidor Sky. What we're gonna do is we're gonna split up places that we want the tattoos to be. So I kind of like how the highlighting on his arm came out, his left arm, so I'm gonna put one tattoo there, and then I'm gonna alternate. So if I'm using his left arm, I'm gonna tattoo his right leg, okay? Or the opposite would be tattoo the right arm and the left leg. Whichever side you go, like in this case, right leg, oh, look at that orc butt. Right leg, left arm, you do the opposite side, so right face for the tattoo on the face. At least that's how I work. So, getting into the tattoos, we're gonna plot out where each tattoo goes. And you do that by looking at the colors on that area of the model. For example, he's got a red top knot, which means that if I put a red tattoo on his face, then it's gonna blend into it, it's not gonna be as noticeable. On the other hand, he's got a white bone that he's using as a weapon, so or a cream colored bone, so if I use white paint on the arm, it won't stick out as much. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm planning on putting this guy on this multi-base here, so I'm gonna also look at the tattoos of the guys next to him. So in this case, this guy with the blue face paint, I don't want that, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give him white face paint, which might, I don't know, that might not be a good idea also because he's got a very ivory colored jawbone. The white might fade into it. Maybe the blue would be best and I just put him on a different base. These are the kind of decisions I make. You might just be like, slap, 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 paint on everywhere. But I'm gonna go with the blue for the face because there's no blue, there's only ivory and red. Blue for the face, red for the arm, white for the leg. Now that we've got that done, we're gonna go over the different kinds of tattoos. And actually they're just like the kind that we did for Wartsag. But now we're adding face tattoo. So, you can either color the face, the right side of the face or the left side. But remember, you're going according to whichever arm you want to paint. So because we're painting the left arm, because it's much more prominent, we're gonna paint the right side of the face. You can either do full half face like William Wallace from Braveheart, or let me show you this other technique that I do for the face paint of the orcs, which is I make a triangle that starts from the corner of the mouth. You want to watch out if you've got one of these jaw bones. Goes to the center, and then the triangle points back towards the back of the head. And then you can make the angle as severe or as small as you want. And you can even make it come out a little bit so it's more than halfway, like that. See how the blue doesn't blend into either the jawbone or the top knot? That's what we want. Now we're gonna go with the red for the arm. And what I'd like to do is, I do a lot of zigzags for the arms, so I'm gonna do a triangle, a band of triangles all the way across. So, let me show you how I do that. You can do this for either the arm or the leg. Wet palette. We're gonna paint one solid band all the way around. For those of you who follow this for my Wartsag model, you will recognize what I'm doing. Actually, no guys in Hawaii that have this tattoo. Triangles all the way around. Sorry, I'm gonna have to get out of focus for a bit to get in here. Okay. We're gonna let that dry. And we're gonna do the white zigzag on the leg. If you're using white last, be sure to wash your brush well so that you don't get pink or light blue color. And I like to go above, so we're going to start here and go towards the back of the leg, then up. And these zigzags you can make as thin or as thick as you want. My tip for when you're working around the like the different surface areas, like where the muscles pop out or cave in, is just to follow the curve, like how it would naturally appear. Alright, so now we're going back onto the arm, and we're going back with our mid-color Warboste green. You can also go if you want. Actually, let's start with the lower color and work our way back to the mid color. Wa Flesh. And we're just going to paint triangles that point up onto the red band. And if you mess up, you've got your Mephiston red right there, so just go right back over. And if you ever get confused, just remember, red triangles pointing down, green triangles pointing up. Oh, you can't see anything because this camera is on the wrong side. I'm so sorry. You can't blame me, master. I know, I'm sorry, Igor. Okay, and then I'm gonna clean them up with the Mephiston red. Some triangles might get, you know, messed up. So just go back over them if you would. Oop. Alright, it's good enough. And then we're just going to work back up with Warboste green and Skarsnik green. With each highlight, you kind of want to get into the triangles if you can. And what that does is it reinforces the line. we're gonna give those two greens a chance to dry. And I'm gonna paint Temple Guard blue on the face paint. Should be enough time for the green to dry. Scar Snake green. Right, in the break I just cleaned up the reds and added a little bit of orange highlights with Wild Rider red to the tips of the hair, the middle part of the hair, the top knot, and to the inside of the triangles. And I also cleaned up the outside of the triangles. If you ever feel like, oh, you're losing the shape of the triangle, just go back with some Mephiston red and repaint the outline. I also took my Ushabti bone again and tried to re-highlight the pelt, and I found that when you stab the paint down onto the edges of the fur, it goes on a lot better. So you can do that if you want. Next we're going to do the spots. We're going to start with Baylor brown, or some other kind of brownish yellow. I think this is like vomit brown in the old range. Not too sure though. Whip out my wet palette. And then we're just going to make random spots. This might actually not be yellow enough. So, alright, that's fine. I'm going to mix in a little bit of Averland Sunset to the Baylor Brown. And this should give us just the color we need. Yep, that is perfecto. So now you got a bunch of yellow spots. What are we going to fill it with? Black of your choice, Chaos or Abaddon Black. And you're going to paint as closely as you can the inside of these dots, leaving equal distance to each edge. Voila! Leopard spots. Right, so there he is. He's done. Thanks for watching, players, and we will see you in the next video. It's interesting because when you're looking at him, you don't really see the tattoo on the left arm. You kind of expect to see a tattoo up here, but then tattoo down on the leg. I mean, it all looks great, so I'm very pleased with it. Hopefully your Savage Orcs turn out just as well, and I'm really happy with this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Night Lords!